Welcome, BookTok enthusiasts, to another exciting episode of Dragons and Spaceships, the show where we explore the novels taking social media by storm. I'm your host, Brandi, and today we are diving into another Emily Henry book, People We Meet on Vacation. Now, I know what you're thinking. Today's book isn't fantasy or sci-fi, but remember, this podcast has expanded to cover the biggest hits on BookTok, no matter the genre. And let me tell you, Emily Henry has been everywhere on BookTok with her heartfelt, witty romances, and this one in particular has readers laughing, crying, and shipping the main characters harder than ever. Before we dive in today's main feature, though, let's spotlight a trending read. Today we're going to talk about The Whistler by Nick Medina. It's a chilling horror novel rooted in native folklore following Henry Hoddard, a former ghost hunter now paralyzed and haunted by an ancient spirit after returning to his reservation. Dark, atmospheric, and psychologically gripping, this one has been making waves on BookTok, and it's definitely worth adding to your TBR. So let's set the stage a little bit for People We Meet on Vacation. Emily Henry describes this book as her love letter to When Harry Met Sally, a story that asks, can two people be just friends, and what happens when they can't? At its heart, this is the story of Poppy Wright and Alex Nielsen, two people who met in college, couldn't be more different, and yet somehow become the most important person in each other's lives. The twist: we see their story unfold through two timelines, the present day where they're estranged and on one last trip together, and the past where we relive all of their summer vacations over the years. Now let's talk about some of the characters. We have Poppy, who is eccentric, adventurous, the girl who left her Ohio hometown to chase a big life in New York City. She becomes a travel writer with the Instagram-worthy dream job, but underneath she's restless and lonely. Alex is her opposite. He is steady, cautious, a literature-loving English teacher who stayed close to home, raising his younger brothers after their mother died. He's disciplined, thoughtful, a little anxious, and yet with Poppy, he lets loose. The magic is in their contrast. She brings spontaneity and he brings stability, and together they create something neither has with anyone else. One of the most charming aspects of this book is the annual summer trip tradition. Every year, no matter what, Poppy and Alex escape their lives for a vacation. Early trips are scrappy, cheap motels, road trips, bad food, but unforgettable. Later trips get fancier as Poppy's career grows, but the soul of it is always the same. They're happiest when they're together. These trips act as markers in their friendship and also show us how the tension between them builds year after year. It's like watching a slow burn romance in real time where every car ride, inside joke, or awkward shared bed scene adds another layer of intimacy. So here's what makes their bond unique. They understand each other's wounds. Alex lost his mom as a child and grew up carrying responsibility on his shoulders. With Poppy, he gets to put it down and just be. Poppy grew up feeling like an outsider in her hometown, bullied for her family's quirks. With Alex, she feels seen and accepted. But here's the flip side. They both fear losing the friendship if they take things further. Poppy in particular convinces herself that romance would ruin everything. So while sparks fly, they bury them year after year. That tension becomes the beating heart of the novel. And then Croatia. 2 years before the present timeline, it finally happens. A drunken kiss, feelings that can't be denied, and then disaster. Instead of confessing how much it meant, both assume the other regrets it. The fear of rejection is so strong that they walk away from each other entirely. 2 years of silence, no texts, no summer trips, nothing. This is where we enter the present timeline. Poppy is 30, living her dream life as a travel writer, but deeply unhappy. She realized her last real happiness was with Alex, so she takes a risk. She invites him on one more trip, cue Palm Springs. The present-day timeline is set in Palm Springs, and let me tell you, the setting does a lot of heavy lifting. The apartment is tiny, the air conditioning is broken, and it's 100 degrees, it's claustrophobic, sticky, and impossible to ignore the chemistry between them. The whole trip is this tug of war. Poppy tries to recapture their old friendships with quirky outings and day trips, while Alex keeps reminding her that things have changed. Every moment of awkward silence, every near touch makes it clear that they're not just friends anymore, no matter how hard they try to pretend. Let's pause to talk about what this book means. We have the fear of vulnerability. Both characters are terrified of rejection. They'd rather protect the friendship than risk hearing the words, "I don't love you" back. Then we have friendship versus romance. The novel asks, are the best loves built on friendship, or is the romance too fragile to survive it? We have the myth of escape. For Poppy, travel was always about running from her past, her insecurities, even from Alex. But true happiness doesn't come from vacations. It comes from facing yourself. Then we have healing old wounds. Both have to confront their childhood scars before they can be together. Therapy, apologies, and honesty play as big a role in this love story as longing and kisses. That's what makes Emily Henry so beloved. Her romances are fun and escapist, but they are also deeply about personal growth. Before we move into the resolution, I want to pause for a quick character spotlight because, honestly, People We Meet on Vacation isn't just about a love story. It's about two individuals growing into themselves. Poppy Wright is loud, adventurous, and a little chaotic. On the surface, she's the fun-loving travel writer with the glamorous Instagram life, but underneath, she's been running her whole life from her small town roots, from rejection, from real intimacy, and her big arc is learning that she doesn't have to escape who she is or where she comes from to be loved. Alex Nielsen, on the other hand, is steady, serious, and almost too responsible. He's the guy who put his family first when his mom died, raising his brothers while his dad struggled. He's careful to a fault, sometimes paralyzed by his own need for stability. His journey is about allowing himself to risk happiness even when it scares him. Because with Poppy, happiness isn't safe or predictable, but it's real. What makes them work is how they balance each other. Poppy helps Alex loosen up, live a little, and dream outside the lines. Alex grounds Poppy, reminding her that she's not defined by escape, but by connection, and that's what makes their story so satisfying. It's not just about two people falling in love, it's about two people becoming whole enough to fall in love. So, do they get their happy ending? Here's what I can say without spoiling every detail is yes, but not easily. It's not one kiss, one night, or one trip that fixes everything. They stumble, they miscommunicate, they almost lose each other again, but through heartbreak, therapy, and finally honesty, they have realized that home isn't a place, it is a person. By the end, Poppy stops running, Alex stops hiding, and they choose each other, not as a fling, not as a vacation escape, but as partners in their messy, uncertain reality of life. People We Meet on Vacation has become a BookTok favorite for a reason. It's witty, it's emotional, it's full of banter, it's about travel and friendship, but even more about the vulnerability of saying, I love you and I'm scared you might not love me back. And it's a reminder that sometimes the greatest journeys don't happen in exotic destinations. They happen when you stop running and let yourself be known. So whether you're a sucker for slow burns, friends to lovers, or just stories that leave you smiling through tears, this one is worth the trip. For our Dragons book news today, we have a quick reminder to all of you who loved People We Meet on Vacation that it is coming to the screen on January 9th of 2026 on Netflix. Tom Blythe stars as Alex and Emily Bader as Poppy, with Brett Haley directing. They've released first look photos and fans are already watching how the characters and locations are being brought to life. So mark your calendars when the film drops. It'll be fun to compare how the adaptation handles all those summer vacations, tensions, and emotional beats we just talked about. All right, we have a Q&A from another listener today. This one is about our episode on The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. The listener asks, do you think Lo was a reliable narrator, or was her anxiety and drinking such a big factor that it made the mystery less believable? Great question. Personally, I think Lo's unreliability is the point. It keeps us on edge of the entire novel. Her anxiety and her drinking don't make the story less believable. They actually heighten the tension. We're never sure if she's imagining things, misinterpreting details, or uncovering something sinister. It's what makes the book such a claustrophobic, psychological ride. Ware leans into that unreliable narrator trope on purpose, and it works. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Dragons and Spaceships. We just took a long journey through People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, a story of friendship, love, and learning to stop running from yourself. If you've read it, I'd love to know your thoughts. Did you root for Poppy and Alex from the start, or did you think they should have stayed friends? Find us on social media for more quick reviews. Until next time, happy reading, stay curious, and may your TBR pile never stop growing.